A lot has changed since I last did my review on iCloud. And with all its new updates and features, I think it's time I share if iCloud is still worth it. So let's take a look. Apple's cloud storage solution has been a part of the Apple ecosystem since 2011. But the big question is, does it still hold up in 2024? In this video, I'll be unpacking iCloud's security and privacy, its features, and if it's good for productivity. And of course, I won't skip past performance and pricing. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and keep watching until the end to see if iCloud still deserves to be the digital home to store all of your files on your iPhone. Let's start with what matters most: privacy and security. Data breaches are always a hot topic, so how does iCloud stack up? For encryption, iCloud's got you basically covered. Well, mostly. Yes, your data is encrypted in transit with TLS or SSL and at rest with AES 128-bit encryption, but there are some important details to consider. First off, Apple does collect some personal data when you use iCloud. This includes things like your Apple ID, device information, and usage data. About sharing data with third parties, Apple claims they don't sell your personal data or share it for marketing purposes. However, they say they might share some of your info with service providers who work on their behalf. So these providers are supposed to handle your data according to Apple's instructions and privacy policy? But who these vendors are is anyone's guess, as Apple isn't very forthcoming with specific names. At least Apple's core business is selling phones and tablets, not cloud storage or platform services like Facebook, where user data becomes the most valuable asset for a company. If you enable the advanced data protection on your account, it adds end-to-end encryption for most of your iCloud data. Things like your backups, notes, photos, all of that. The good news is that it's included in the standard pricing, not an extra cost. Sounds great, right? But, and this is important, iCloud Mail is not covered. That's a bit of a red flag. According to Apple, this is because they need to play nice with the global email system. Your contacts and calendars are also not fully encrypted. Apparently, they're built on industry standards that do not provide built-in support for end-to-end encryption. So I can't really consider iCloud a true end-to-end encryption provider like Sync.com, which encrypts all of your data, no exceptions. I do want to make you aware that Apple might scan your iCloud content. The company says it's for security and fraud prevention purposes, as usual. It's also to find potential illegal material. Look, I get all that, and of course, we want companies to prevent illegal activity, whatever that means. But I've been in this game a long time, and I know companies use emotional justifications when really all I want and all they want is pretty different, right? They want to scrape your data, I want to protect my data. Simple as that. Now, the last time I did a review, Apple wasn't far removed from a celebrity photo leak scandal, but that was a decade ago, and Apple has significantly improved its security since then. They've introduced two-factor authentication, which is pretty much standard nowadays. You'll need to set up 2FA yourself, and it's worth it if you ask me. I've used it with many services like Google Drive, Dropbox, pCloud, all of my banking apps, everything is now with two-factor authentication. If you're storing confidential information, which, let's face it, most of us are, I'd certainly recommend turning this one on. It's a simple step that can make a really big difference in protecting your data. Let's talk about where your iCloud data is actually stored. And this is pretty important because different countries have different privacy laws. However, Apple's not exactly forthcoming about which specific servers are holding onto your data. Apple has data centers spread across the US, Denmark, Asia, but they don't tell us which of these locations it is using to store your personal info. That might make it difficult to justify using iCloud for business purposes in any shape or form, because most businesses need to know where exactly their data is stored. All right, so switching gears, I want to talk about something iCloud does really well: seamless integration. If you're an Apple user like me, chances are some of you are already using iCloud without even really realizing it. It's baked right into your iPhone, iPad, Mac, so it is super convenient. Your photos, your contacts, your calendars, and even your device backups are all synced across your Apple devices. But convenience isn't everything, right? We need to look at the whole package. When you get a new iPhone, setting it up is really a breeze. It's moments like these when you really appreciate the seamless integration. You just sign in with your Apple ID and it's like your old phone's soul got really transferred over. No need to manually download each app or spend hours trying to remember which settings you had. It's all magically just there. But what if you're not all in on Apple? Well, that's where things get a little bit, let's say, tricky. iCloud has the Windows app and web interface, and you can easily manage your cloud data and download files directly onto your device, but the desktop experience has a quirk that might bug some users. It is designed to run in the background, which is great for keeping everything synced, but you can't completely shut it down without manually killing the process in the task manager. For most users, this won't be an issue, but for those of us who like full control over what's running on our devices, I hope it becomes possible to shut it down easily when we want. And let's face it, if you're a Windows user, you should probably stay away from iCloud. It will never work seamlessly. There are always going to be hurdles that you have to jump through, and there are better options for Windows users, to be honest. When using iCloud Drive on the web, you can access other Apple apps like Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, and of course, anything you create or edit there syncs back to your iCloud Drive. Now, let's talk about iCloud Photos. This feature syncs all your photos and videos across your devices and stores them in the cloud. It's pretty useful, especially if you take a lot of photos, but it can eat up your storage space quite quickly. And if you're on the free 5 GB plan, you'll quickly run out of space. I'll cover storage options shortly, so please keep watching. And by the way, iCloud isn't only about backing up your files. A cool feature I like is the iCloud keychain. It keeps track of all my passwords, generates long ones, and syncs them across my devices. And sure, it's not a really unique feature for today's standards, but it's really good to make you aware, especially for someone who always says, what was my password again? And for some better options for password managers, check out other videos in the channel. You know the drill where to find it. For productivity and collaboration, iCloud's offerings are pretty basic compared to some competitors. They don't have any native document creation tools built into iCloud itself, and this is, to be honest, a little bit disappointing, especially when you compare it to something like Google Drive's integrated Docs suite. However, iCloud does play nicely with Apple's productivity apps like Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. I've used these across my devices and the synchronization is pretty seamless. But if you're not in the Apple ecosystem, you're out of luck. There's no integration with Microsoft Office or Google Workspace, which I found limiting when trying to collaborate with non-Apple users. Now, file sharing. You can password protect documents and set links to expire after a month, and you can stop sharing them sooner if you want. If you own a file or folder, you can manage participants and sharing settings, but you can't change sharing settings for individual files in a shared folder. It's really all or nothing, so very, very little control. Let's talk about speed, because let's face it, nobody likes waiting around for their files to upload or download. In my experience, iCloud's sync speeds are meh. They're not super fast, but they get the job done. Here's how we did it. We used a 5 GB folder and connection speed of 100 megabits. In theory, this should have been a breeze for iCloud, but in practice, not fast at all. Uploads took an average of around 11.5 minutes and downloads about 8.5 minutes. These aren't the slowest speeds we've seen, but we definitely expect more from a company the size of Apple. There are much faster options out there, and you can check them out in this video. Let's talk about money. iCloud starts you off with a free 5 GB of storage. Now, I know what you're thinking. 5 GB? That's barely enough to hold your lunch photos. Well, to put it in perspective, you're looking at about 2,500 photos before you max out. But if that's still not enough, Apple has several paid options, which all fall under iCloud Plus. For less than $1 a month, you can jump to 50 gigabytes. Need more? Shell out about $3, and you're looking at 200 gigabytes. Now, if you got a ton of stuff for around $10, you get 2 terabytes of storage. But here's where it gets interesting. When you upgrade to iCloud Plus, you're not just getting more storage, you're unlocking a bunch of privacy features too. We're talking hide my email to keep your personal email under wraps, custom email domains if you want to get fancy, and HomeKit secure video to store encrypted video from your home security cameras. Plus, you can share your plan with up to 5 family members. Not bad, right? So, what's the verdict here? Is iCloud worth it in 2024? Well, it depends on how deep you are in the Apple ecosystem and if you value seamless integration. In the end, iCloud is like that reliable friend who's always there when you need them, but maybe isn't the life of the party. It's not flashy, but really it gets the job done. There are plenty of other cloud storage options out there that offer more flexibility and features, so if you're curious about the best services out there, check out this video, and I've got some discount codes for some of them too. You can find them down in the description box below. So, what do you think? Are you an iCloud user? Love it? Hate it? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this review helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech reviews and tips. Until next time, stay cloudy, my friends. See you later.